Hi everyone, welcome to the second part of this video from Magical Worlds by Johanna Basford. Now we did the bird yesterday using a colour cube card to pick our colours, and I showed you the second card, which is this one that we're going to be using for the flowers, and I did pick the colours out yesterday already. They are listed in the description of the video if you want to go and check them out, and they are the Staedtler Design Journey pencils again. So if you don't have those pencils, I do have some comparison charts with other brands, and you can go and find those on my Ko-fi, and the link again is in the video description. But let's get started. Now I have noticed that we have a small flower here and a larger one here. Let's come in a tad closer for you, and they look very similar. There are a few differences really just because of the size. So both got petals that look the same, but this one has got this sort of layer of bits and this layer and then this bit, whereas this one's only got this sort of central circle and this little layer. So basically there's a bit more detailing going on this one because there's more space. So I'm going to try and colour them very similarly to make them look like they're the same type of flower. And I'm starting with 260, which is the darkest. I think it's the darkest. Hang on, let me just check. Yeah, the darkest of colours, and I'm going to use it in the centre. I'm just checking and thinking, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put a layer around the outside of this circle, really simple, and then just go over it a few times so it's quite dark. Excuse me. And then as I come in towards the middle, put less layers. And we're still covering the white of the paper, but there's less there, visibly less. Okay, so you can see the lighter mid in the middle. I think that looks quite nice. And we're going to do the same with this one. If you don't like it like that, you can block it in really dark. It's completely up to you how you colour it, of course. So I've just had a bit of chocolate, and it's making my throat itch. I don't know why, but anyway, it is. Okay, so my next layer I'm going to use the 27. Okay, and we're going to do these little petally bits, but they're really small, so I still want to have a bit of a fade on them. So I'm going to do a really defined line around the edge of the circle like that. This layer is a little bit easier than the next one because we've got a circle, and then we're going to just fade it to the tip of each little petal. So that's just putting down less as we go to the edge. It's quite tricky, especially in this little teeny space. Do the best you can. We can always come back and relayer it, which is what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to come back and put more on the central bit and just try and make it look as even as I can. Not going to worry too much. Now with the next layer, we haven't got an even circle. It's going to have to do each little petal individually, and it actually might make it better. I just sharpen my pencil. Ooh. Yeah, it was very good timing. My washing machine just finished as I finished the first video. I hung up the washing and made a coffee, which is cooling next door actually, and yeah, my husband came down for a chat. The machine finished, he went downstairs and I followed him down because I was just finished. I said, okay, I'm coming. So he just sat at the table and chatted to me while I hung up the washing, sorted it out, but that was fine. He was telling me about something he's going to be doing at work and the importance of it, but he's got this week off because what he's doing is important, and we can't start it quite yet, I don't think. So it's a good opportunity to have a week off, but I was hoping he would sort of be relaxed. But the thing is, he likes his job. He likes to feel like he's doing something useful. So reading about this morning about how important what he's doing has made him, you know, feel that it's useful, but of course it then adds that layer of stress. But anyway, hopefully it'll be okay. I understood in the end what it is that's being done, and it isn't as tricky as I first thought. and it shouldn't take that long. You know, it's like, I thought it was going to be like, from what he was saying, like years and years project, but it sounds like, because it's just an initial step, it might just be a weeks, month, you know, not too long. Now this one I'm going to do again the same as that one. My son's home today. He's only working 3 days a week. I don't know how he's going to manage when he has to go to 5, but in his current job he's allowed to stay at 3 and it's suiting him well. But I think, yeah, get used to it, I guess. You do, don't you? Now, the next couple of layers on this one, obviously we've got no more to do on here, apart from doing a bit that I've missed. The next couple of layers on here, I'm going to repeat the colours I used already, because I want to use the other 3 colours on the petals and on both. Okay, so I'm going to go back to using the 260 on this sort of area here. I'm going to try and keep this reasonably even, I think. I find that quite difficult. Some of you may find it easier than fading, but I actually find it harder. I think because when you fade, it can be a bit wobbly, whereas here it should be flat. But I do my best, as I'm sure you will as well. That's all we can do. Oh, there's a train going by. See if my son's okay, actually. He was sending me some messages earlier from uni. He went off early. No, he has a 9:15 on a Monday, which is not much fun, but it's a good, he's got a really cool teacher, he says, you know, sort of laid back, helpful, wants everyone to do really well, so encouraging, that sort of thing. So he's quite likes it, even though it's tax. This is 27 that he's studying in this particular class. We're going to fade these to the tips, apparently. I think I need to sharpen it a bit. So yeah, but they had their seminar was cancelled on Friday because she was poorly, so she's going to run a longer one next Friday. But yeah, he's got a class until 11:15, although he said it might overrun, and then he's got a driving lesson at 12:30 from his instructor picks him up from the uni car park, so that's useful. And he'll have a couple of hours driving lesson. He went out yesterday with his dad, but they did what his instructor refers to as technical driving. I don't remember all these names when I was learning. And basically sort of difficult stuff like going along roads where there's cars parked on one side, so it's only one way, and so you have to tuck in and let them pass and that sort of thing. So he did a bit of that, and they did a little bit of practice parking in a car park which is on a hill, so there's a sort of hill start element. But our car is automatic, that makes it a lot easier compared with the instructor's car, which is manual. But he still get a bit of practice, and if he can do a little bit each week, then it will all help his confidence generally. I actually said to him, you know, when his test isn't until March now, it's been moved forward. I said to him, you know, at Christmas you can drive us. If we're out on Christmas Day, we're actually going out on Boxing Day for sure. We've already got a booking with father-in-law, which will be nice. I said to him, you can drive us because the roads are really quiet on Christmas. And he said, as long as there's no frost or snow. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's fair. But it's really rare for it to be frosty or snowy on Christmas. It's quite odd, but that just seems to be the way. Now, we're going to move to our slightly lighter colours, to our petals. Now, this is our 23. What I'm going to do first is go in all these little gaps between these sort of bits. So we're going to do that first, just fill those in. I want it to be quite dark, so I'm going to layer it up a little bit as I go round. all the way around. And then we can, I'm going to use all three colours that are left in the petals. So I'm going to sort of fade from one to the other to the other. So this being our darker colour, I'm going to use it here. And then gently sort of fade it like that. It should go all the way to the edge. I didn't. I still haven't. There we go. Like that. And just do the same on every one. So I'm going to get a little progression of colour from dark to light. And I find these colours quite pretty. Now, no, excuse me, I'm not a pinky person. I don't like Barbie pink or fuchsia pink. But the sort of more salmony pinks I quite like. I quite like the carmines in the polychromos, that sort of pink as well. It's more red. Yeah, but I'm not a fan of like fuchsia pink, that sort of colour in the polychromos. The one we used here, don't like that very much either. But you know, it is what it works. It's part of that colour cube, we had to use it. But I prefer these. But I wasn't sure whether these pinks will go with the bird because they're a different type of pink, you know. But I figured that it didn't matter because if this was real, which it obviously isn't, nature doesn't make things match. So I figured it would be fine. And it would be nice to use different colour cards. I'm using quite a lot lately because of the new ones coming out. It's got me thinking about using them again. And I actually noticed that Sarah Rennie Clark had shared one of my pictures where I used the colour cube cards. We're going to use the pencil over here, which was nice on Instagram. There's now a button where you can repost. That was it. She reposted it. So there's a repost button on Instagram. So if you like anything that I've done, you can click that repost. I don't really understand 25. I'm assuming it will then expose that to more people, which is nice. I'm going right over what I've done and fading down to the tip. Maybe we could do that colour on the underside. I will leave those blank and I'll use that colour on it and I'll see if it works. If it doesn't, I'll put a bit of pink on top. We'll see. But I'm not going right to the very edge either, leaving the tip so we can put a bit of this salmony colour in. Yeah, so I don't know what reposting, I'm assuming it will help to, it's more exposure. So if you do that with anything that I've posted, I would really appreciate it. And I will do it with people that tag me. But I do find it really difficult to find things that I'm tagged in. So if you have tagged me in a picture because you followed a video or whatever, DM me with the link to the post, if you can do that. I don't really know how to do that. And then I can go there and I can see it, which would be lovely. Because sometimes I just don't see things and I like to. So now we've got our 222. And going to go around here. Sort of going over everything really. I think it's a nice way to do it. It helps to blend it. If you've missed any bits, it covers them over. I think that's working with those turned over bits. My nose wants to run now. How very inconvenient. You don't want to hear me sniffing. Luckily I didn't pick up the cold. Both the boys managed to get a cold, but I didn't get it. I'm not very good at catching colds, which is a good thing. Not very good at catching at all. But yeah, it's I think because I'm a bit older helps. But also, I mean, we all take vitamin D, which is supposed to be really good for immunity. I've just realised there's a bit of petal there, but I'm just going to get my hanky for a minute, or else I'm just going to be snipping. Hang on. Yeah, my sister's kids have all got colds. It's just the time of year. Okay, because that's quite a large bit of petal, we're going to actually start with the 23 and do that bit. I didn't realise there was a bit there. Then we're going to go to our 25, put a little bit more there, and lastly the 222. Now I feel like I want to go over these petals a little bit. I'm going to grab this 25. I'm just going to tidy them up a little bit. So basically that blend between our darkest and our lightest colour, the 25 is that sort of in-betweeny colour. Just going to go over it to make it look a bit nicer. So here, for example. And it gets rid of some of that white paper. You can use a blender for this, but actually I want the colour to look more vibrant, so it's better to use a colour rather than a colourless blender. If that makes sense. Oh dear, sorry. There we go. They look quite cute. Now I've got to pick a colour. I'm just going to use the 222 again on the edges because I haven't gone right to the edge. I don't think on some of these. That's better. Now the greens. I don't want just one green. I think it's because we've blended a lot of colours throughout. If I suddenly just plonk down a hard layer of just green, I think it'll look a bit odd. So we want a mix of greens, and I'm thinking what goes well with these colours. Well, we've got these more yellowy pinks, maybe orangey pinks, I suppose. So I don't want to go with a bluey green. I don't think it's going to work so well as if we do more of a either. We could go for the 5 and 52 and 50, that sort of all 52, 50, 53 type combo, or we could go for the sort of 5, 7, 9, 57, 56, which is my favourite combination. But I think this one's going to be the best. Just trying to imagine. It's hard for me to imagine, but I'm using my swatch chart to help me. So I've grabbed these three. So we've got the 52, the 50 and the 53. So we're going to use my little 52 first. This is the darkest one, of course. And I'm going to start here with the darkest colour and just work my way around the leaf and sort of fade it down as I go. I can just, there we go. Just trying to layer up a little bit more up close to the flower and then just sort of fade it off. There we go, and just move around them all. I hope everyone's doing okay today. I'm trying to think, is it Saturday today? I think that's how I timed this video, but I may have just put it out completely wrong time because sometimes I get a bit muddled. I know. So we'll see what happens when it goes out. But but I hope whatever day it is, I hope you're having a good day. What are you doing? Is anyone colouring? Tell me in the comments what you're colouring. I'd like to know. I'm nosy. I want to know what you're doing. Or you might not be colouring. You might be doing something else. I don't know. I tend to watch. I don't watch a lot of videos, to be honest. I mean, who wants to do that? No, I'm being naughty. No, I watch some, but I tend to. I don't know why I don't. Now we're going to make these leaves a different colour. Maybe let's just do these ones for now. Now these are much smaller, so do be careful with quickly fading your colour. There we go. I just realised I completely filled up my clothes area. This is such an exciting conversation to have. This is number 50, and I've got one other item left in the machine which needs to be hung up. My son said to me, "Mum, got a clean hoodie?" I was like, "Well, there's not one on the error." He's like, "Well, I must have changed it last week." I said, "I don't remember seeing one in the wash." I was like, "Oh." So he took it, the one that was in the wash, and said, "I might need to wear it." Okay. And then he went off, he came back, and I'd put the washing on, and he said, "Oh, I found the other one, it was in my drawer." So, you know, someone had put it away. Can you imagine? It was me, actually, I think. Quite a while ago, though. So I think he's forgotten to change it last week. Anyway, so he found it, so then he dumped his dirty one on the floor, and I'd already put the load of washing on. So I put it in on its own because it does really need cleaning. So it might get a better clean on its own. Right. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm going over what I've done already, and then extending that colour down, fading it towards the tip. Now, if you don't want to use a million, billion, trillion colours, you can just use one. You can fade it all the way down to the tip, or not even all the way down to the tip. It's up to you how you do it. It's yours after all. Just looking on the right-hand page, 53. I remember doing that page. It was lovely before in my other copy of the book. I did it as a video for you. So I've got it again to do. But I did sort of, you know, I'm not in a rush to finish a second copy of the book. I wasn't actually going to get one, and then someone asked me to do a page. They commissioned me through my Ko-fi to do a page from the book. They paid, so I used the money that they paid me to buy a second copy. It's a lovely book. I certainly don't regret it. And I did that actually with Small Victories as well. Someone commissioned me a page from there, and I had to buy a copy. Yeah, so I've been doing some of the pictures that I didn't do when it first came out. I did have someone once ask me if I could, Johanna had a new book out, I can't remember what it was, to go from cover to cover and just make a video on every single page. Emily Illustrator's doing that at the moment with Small Victories, but it isn't a colour along type thing. It's basically watch me colour the page, and it's sort of sped up. It's very entertaining, and she's trying to do each page in a really different way, not always using the same mediums. You know, sometimes it's pens, sometimes it's pencils, paint, all sorts of different things, and it does make it rather entertaining, I have to say. Right, we have these leaves here. We also have these sort of swirly viney bits, but if I come out so you can see what I'm talking about, in case you haven't got it in front of you, the swirly viney bits actually link into the outside border. So I'm not thinking they're necessarily at all linked in with the leaves. So I'm not going to necessarily colour them to match in with these. What I'm trying to decide is, do I do these leaves the same colour as these, or do I do them differently? I think differently could be more interesting, but they do look the same as these, but different to these. Yeah, I'm going to do them differently just for interest's sake, and you might want to do them the same. You have a look at what I've done and then decide. So remember I said I was torn between two colour schemes. Well, we're going to use the other one. And what that also means is that if you aren't colouring along yet, you can decide perhaps you want to use this colour scheme for these. So we're going to use 579 first. This is our darkest green. We're going to use it for the base, just like we have for the other leaves, darker at the base, and then sort of fade it down like that. The same for this one. There's a lot of water running noises. The washing machine must be filling up again, doing its rinse or something. There we go, and then this one. There we are. And then we're going to go for the 57, one of my most favourite colours. I'm going to put it right over the top. It will brighten this colour that we've put down already. We're not going to go all the way to the tip. We've got one more colour, maybe two, maybe two, maybe not, maybe. I've just decided what I'm doing with the outside border, but I don't know what I'm doing with the background. The background's a bit more of a challenge. It's such a large area, which is quite difficult to colour with such a thin pencil, 56. You know, I don't mean thin, I mean hard. I suppose thin as well. When I did it last time, I used my Derwent drawing pencils actually, because the person whose picture inspired me, as I was talking about yesterday, this morning's video, sorry. In the last video, that they had used Derwent drawing pencils, so I thought I think, or did they just use colours that look like the colours from that set? I can't quite remember. So I'm not going to quite finish with that. I'm going to use this colour on top. This is the 17. This is the light ochre. I think it will just help to blend it, give it a brighter, slightly more yellowy look. And you can have a look and think, do I think those should have been the same colour as the flowers? The ones on the flowers, do I think all of them should have been this colour? I don't know. I quite like them. But that's because they're my favourite colours. Right, I'm going to finish there because we haven't, we've got border background to do. And I think that's nice to put into one video. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to do the border in the colour that I want. I'll figure it out. There's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, as they say. But we won't be using a colour cube card for the rest because I need to just try and tie it together. Got a few ideas. She says, staring at her pencils. I'll get there. But thank you for watching today. The next video I think will be tomorrow. I hope I've got that right, or else you're going to be scratching your head going, what's she on about? Anyway, hopefully you can join me for the next video. Let's come out, can't see the whole thing. There we go. Yeah, so hope you enjoy the rest of your day and happy colouring. Let's do that. There we go.